Hello everyone. Welcome to CSSBattle Saturday Night Live, and I'm your host Kushagar Gaur. Welcome to the live stream. Who all are here today? I see someone on the stream. Let me know in the chat if you're here so that I know, and also let me know if my audio and video is clear or if there's any issue. And sorry about the late start today. Actually, there was an issues in the setup which I was figuring out, but we are on. We are live now. Let's just wait for a few more minutes for people to join, and then we'll begin. Okay, while people are joining, let's see. There are few versus battles right now. I see all of them are full. So a recent issue that I've not really recent, but since we made versus battle public, everyone can play it. I've seen this a lot more happening, where you have these versus battles hosted by people and they're public, and you see them here. And of course, if they're available, other people can see and join them, right? They're free to join. But if the host does not have a credit, um, you just join the battle and then you are in the lobby waiting for the host to start, but the host can't start because they don't have a credit. So it's sort of like it's it's a wasted versus room then, right? If the host is not willing to buy a credit at that point and not does not want to start the battle, the person who joins the battle is it's just a wasted thing, right? You join the battle, there's no one there. I mean, there's someone, but it's not going to start. So I've seen this problem happening, even though these rooms, public rooms, seem full. That only means it has two players already, but we don't know if the battle is going on or not. That that makes me think there should also be indicator of whether the battle is live or not. That should be good. I mean, right now it's just saying there's a lobby out there with two people because it says full, but is the battle on or not? Maybe also an indicator to show that the user has credits. We could show it here, and then you choose which one to join wisely. Maybe. I'm just an idea, just a thought. Cool. I think we can start. Before that, like a few updates. Few weeks back, we launched our ISO Wish board. It's a feedback board wherein you can put in your suggestions for features, for bugs that you want to get resolved. And you can see here that it also has voting. So you can upvote the ones you want to see on the website. So as you can see, the top one, the most requested one is bring clip path back into the game. And that's what I added, but I added it because I already knew it's gonna be there. And you can see it's the most supported one, right? Cool. This one is done. One was one-on-one CSS tournament. So we already have versus, and Muhammad Ali requested this feature wherein we have a tournament sort of thing. There are people fighting one-on-one and then moving to the next round and then fighting one-on-one and so on until we have a final match between two players, and then we have a final winner. Good thing, this is in progress. This is happening. It's gonna happen. My idea is early February, we should have a first tournament. And The good news is there's gonna be an online tournament, one-on-one tournament, as well as the system would be used for an offline event as well. So yes, I'm planning a offline tournament, a CSS Battle tournament. I'm still deciding between like it would be CSS Battle meetup, a CSS Battle conf, or just a tournament. So that's still being decided, but the tournament is still gonna happen. That's definitely gonna happen. We'll use the same system to actually have an in-person event, people fighting on two systems side by side. That's gonna happen in India, because I am in India, so that's gonna be the first one. But hopefully we'll have this all across the world soon, probably next month. Who knows? Cool. So yeah, that's in progress. I should probably add a tag for that as well for in progress things. This is also done. Option to rate targets with stars. I was thinking about this as well, and it seems like it has been upvoted quite a few times. So yeah, let me see. I should be able to get this done soon. Leaderboard for daily targets. Well, it's in demand, but then it defeats the whole purpose for daily battles, daily targets. We don't want competition and leaderboard there. I mean, that's the initial thought with which daily targets were created. But yeah, we can always think about it. Short time taken to reach top solutions. Okay, that's an interesting one. Maybe we can have a more discussion over this on our Discord server. By the way, another thing that launched a few weeks back is this thing. Why is it not loading? Is it some issue? Yeah, seems like there is an issue with the player cards. How about if we refresh the page? There is an issue with the player cards. I'll have a look at this. Should note this down. Player cards are broken. Okay. I will discuss about this. No leaderboards for now. API to get a list of battle targets and daily targets. Okay, could be just a public JSON. Okay, interesting suggestion there. Add an option to let people decide the difficulty level, easy, medium, hard. Show a pie chart with the combined result. Let people decide the difficulty level. Okay, but where exactly? I'm not sure. A view filter for unplayed battles. Filter daily targets on not played or not 100% score. Bug fix the bad system. Okay, this is in progress. Fix the profile picture bug. Okay, I'll check this. Still have to check this out. SVG battle probably next month. Increase the challenge by scoring solution by rendering in Firefox as well. Wow, that's an interesting suggestion. So right now, the recommendation is you play on a Chromium-based browser so that you see what the backend also sees when you render your code in the browser. But this interesting suggestion by Mr. Kafi says like you get extra points if you render 100% in Firefox as well. Yeah, interesting. Cool. So a lot of things on the board. Thank you all who contributed here, and not just like putting here, but also upvoting the existing suggestions and requests here. Okay, let's go into daily targets. Let's see which one should we reverse engineer today. That's what we do on these streams. We try to pick a simple, comparatively simple to replicate daily target, and we look at the top solutions for those past daily target and try to reverse engineer and try to figure out the approach that the top player took for that solution. Okay, if you have a recommendation, let me know in the chat. Otherwise, I think I would probably go for maybe Jan 21. That looks simple and interesting. Or we could go for Jan 16th or 15th. Like I tend to check for two things. A simple target, because we don't want to dive a lot into how to get it 100%, but more on the code golfing side. So a simple target, that's what I look for, and then um, uh, bonus points if the top solution is like far, far, far off from the other ones, like the second and third solution. Um, Basically, if the top solution is really interesting. Jan 6 was interesting. Okay. Okay. Cool. Uh, Gabe has a recommendation, and we are gonna go with Jan 6 today. Cool. So thing that we do always, I'm just checking my annotation. Okay, we have the on the brush size. Is it selecting highlight? Okay, we want the draw tool. Cool. Annotation is working. So before we dive into the top solution for this daily target, we are gonna talk about the most trivial solutions that we could use to build this daily target. Okay, so let's see. Maybe um, these two can be rectangles, right? So this is one rectangle. I hope my annotation is visible. I think so. Yeah, it's visible. Cool. Okay, so this could be one rectangle, this could be another, and then inside we want three colors to show, which could be easily done with radial gradient. You start with this gray, green, whatever that is, with a hard color stop, and then red all across, and then a green hard color stop. Similarly for this rectangle, same thing. And then on the center, a simple square with this green color, that should give us this image, right? That's one solution. Other, much more simpler one could be not using gradient at all, but simply putting these rectangles, right? This could be a square, and then we have this rectangle, and then with this rectangle. So every rectangle that you see, just a simple separate div or whatever element for that, right? One element per rectangle that you see in the image, right? All these can be rectangles, and then again, you can easily get this target done. Is there any other solution? If you want to go just like more little towards crazier stuff while still not like making it too complex, these could be like just this could be one element, right? Or one green box, and then the duplicates can be just box shadows, right? You can create all the other three squares with just box shadows of this square positioned at the right offsets, right? So you get these four squares, right? I don't think we can do the same thing with the rectangles, because the other four, the three are not exact duplicates of these, but this could create a shadow for this, and then this rectangle could create a shadow for this, right? That could be done. I mean, just if you want to play with box shadows. Uh, cool. That's all I can think of to create this target in the most straightforward manner. But now let's go into the top solution, and the top one is by Veggie, and it's 144 characters short, right? Cool, interesting solutions. All of them seem to be using DL or DT for some reason. Probably we'll know while we are trying to figure it out. Oh, by the way, Gabe, and I also see Sushant here. Thanks for joining, folks. Uh, Welcome to the stream. Glad you're here. Only one watching. I think so. Gabe was here, but probably not anymore. Yeah, yeah, I see someone else also on the stream. But yeah, welcome to the stream. Thanks for joining in. We're trying to reverse engineer this particular daily target from January 6th. And yeah, the top solution is by Vegi. And we're gonna load this up in the editor. Gabe is here. Hey, Gabe, welcome back. Okay, we are gonna run some unminification on this code. Oh, cool. It's using offset ray. Seeing this after a long time. Yeah, hopefully we remember what it does. Okay, we'll put some um, braces to close up things, and yeah, this is good enough. Let's just move it. Oh, it's nested, right? Let's make it look nested. Cool, done. Much more readable. Let's see what's happening. So before we get into the declarations, we always comment out all of them because the way we go about it is like we keep uncommenting one declaration at a time, try to figure out what it exactly helps with, and that's how we try to reverse engineer the whole approach that is in the solution. Cool. So, if we talk about elements first, we of course have the HTML and the body. Those are the two default tags we get as elements. And this solution is also adding a DT and a P. And if you see, there are no closing tags, neither on DT nor on P, right? So that means the browser is gonna figure out itself what when to close which tag, right? It can choose, in this case, to nest P inside DT or make P a sibling of DT. But that depends on like what kind of elements DT, uh, not about P, I guess. It's more about DT is, yeah, I guess it's about both. Like, is P really nestable inside DT according to their block values, according to the display values, right? Are they nestable inside one another? That's what is technically evaluated. And you can see P is nestable inside DT, and so the browser goes with that, right? It doesn't auto close DT right away. Instead, it sees P after opening DT and it chooses to actually nest P inside DT. And then autoclose, of course, the P and the DT after that, right? So this is what we get basically as HTML. We have HTML, we have the body, and then there is DT inside which we have a P. So like four elements nested inside each other, one another. Cool. So that's the markup that we get. And let's come to CSS now. There is one big rule. Uh, there's one big rule in our solution, and it's on a universal selector, which means it's going to apply to all the four elements that we have as part of this solution, right? Um, so starting with background color, pretty simple. It's straightforward. Gives us this F3EA, which is the screen color, right? That's what we get on every element. And then hopping on to the next rule, which is actually a nested rule, right? Um, and it's on star selector again. So star inside star, which means anything which is inside anything. In simpler words, any nested element, right? And out of our four elements, the only non uh, nested one is the HTML tag. HTML tag is not nested inside anything. So that's the only element which doesn't satisfy this particular selector, which is star space star. All the other three, they are actually nested inside anything, right? Inside something. So this rule, uh, the nested star would get applied on starting with body, gonna apply on dt and then on p, right? Those three elements would get this. Okay, so let's start with like the straightforward ones. We have a width of body, which is basically it means 40 pixels because you can simply ignore the units. If you ignore the units, it's gonna pick px there, right? Px can be avoided in the quarks mode, which is like how the um, iframe here, the preview here, um, that works in CSSBattle, right? It's a quarks mode, doesn't have a doc type, so you can do certain things which you normally wouldn't be able to do on a normal page, on a real world page, which has a doc type of HTML5, uh, HTML5 in most cases, right? So here you can drop the px. If you don't write, you can assume it's px. So every element gets a width of 40 px. Every element gets a height of 10 lh. LH being the line height unit. So whatever line height is there on that particular element, 1 LH means exactly like the line height, and then 10 means 10 times whatever line height is there on that particular element. So width set and then height is set on all the three elements. Remember, this is going to apply on body, dt, and p. So we get a width and a height, and then there's a background set, which is this red color, of course. So three elements, same width and height, and a background. And we can also add another decoration here to help us with some debugging, visualize them more clearly. We're going to add a outline on every element, a black outline, so that you can see the elements clearly in the preview. Cool. All right, let's go ahead. So one thing you would notice is there are four elements on this page in the solution, basically, and we have put an outline on all the elements, right? You can see it's on star selector. But if you notice, you don't see the four elements um, in the preview, right? All we see is one black outline, just one black border, right? Why is that? Let's see. Maybe we can put in some margin and see if it helps. Does, I think. So basically, those elements were exactly the same size, right? Nested inside one another, and their borders were just um, overlapping each other. Uh, I guess not overlapping, but they were um, the edges were sticking to one another, and so the elements were not differentiable. Something happened to my camera. Just give me a second. Let me see what's happening. Why is it not working? Probably works now. Yeah, it should be working now. Cool. Okay. So we were talking about why don't we see the four elements with the black outline. So the thing is, all those elements are actually like the same size, and so we see them sort of like one on top of another. And we can verify this by putting in a margin. That's what I've been doing to figure it out. So if I put a margin of 10 pixels around the elements, you can see they sort of like start to differentiate, like show up differently, not exactly overlap each other, right? But there's still an issue that I see here, which is I'm putting a margin around the elements on all the nested elements, which are body, DT, and P, but this 10 pixel margin around the elements doesn't show up. I can see the uh, margins only in the inline direction, which is the horizontal direction for some reason. Let's try to inspect and see what's happening here. Okay, so remember HTML doesn't get um, a red background, so uh, it's this is fine. A 400 into 300 HTML tag. Um, it also has our black outline, but it won't show because the outline shows outside the element border box, and that will get clipped by the viewport, right? Because HTML is just like uh, the same size of the viewport. So that gets clipped by the viewport. We don't see its outline. But starting from body here, this is body. You can see the default 8 pixel margin around the body, and of course the um, border, the outline, I mean, the black outline around the body tag, right? Cool. So this is the body, and then it has DT, and you can see because all the three elements have a fixed width and height in absolute terms, um, they won't grow or shrink according to the children, right? The body is here. The DT tag inside body doesn't fit inside the body, right? So it just um, it it goes beyond the dimension of the body tag, and that's why you can see the bottom and the top have overshoot the body, which is its parent for DT tag, and so all you see is the separation in the horizontal direction because it has it's overflown in both the direction X and Y, but um, okay, so it's overflown only in X direction, not the Y direction. And the thing is, so even though it has a margin on top and bottom, so sorry, yeah, we are talking about the DT tag. DT tag, because of the left and right margin, you can see like it has shifted from the uh, parent's left edge, which is body. So body is here, and you can see DT has shifted. It has been pushed a little because of the left margin, but the top and the bottom margins did not push it downwards, right? And that's probably because of margin collapsing, I believe. The element has just like gone, the margin have gone outside, and it has sort of got mixed with body's margin, right? So this is body's margin, and you can see DT also has its margin exactly overlapping the body margin, and that's like margin collapsing. Uh, there, the margin is not acting as a pushing force for the element, right? It's not shrinking DT or like pushing, not basically shrinking, but pushing. Shrinking can't happen because remember, like there's absolute width and height, so no stretching or no shrinking. But you should have pushed it from the top edge, but it doesn't get pushed because it's um, it's being collapsed into the parent's margin. Cool, but yeah, that's body overflowing dt and then the overflowing p tag. Right, that's what we get. And there's also a border on three elements. Let's uncomment out the last declaration, I believe, or second last declaration in this nested star selector. And this is giving a border block, which is for our case, block would be the top and the bottom directions, and border block would thereby give us borders on the top and the bottom. A simple 5ch wide border, the color being 243D, which is weird because it's different than the green that we need, that we have in the palette, right? It's different, but still this works. Uh, that I believe is because like this color here, it's some green, but with some transparency, right? And why this works is, so first of all, why the different color? Because it's two characters short of us, right? So this is code golfing, you want to save characters, so this is shorter, but then it's different also. Yes and no. It looks different because the values are not exactly same for the RGB, but this is not RGB. It's some green with some RGB, but then when you put a transparency of value D, it turns out to be exactly the color that we need, or for most practical purposes, it's almost similar to the color that we need. Because with transparency, the visual appearance of the color changes, right? And if you can have that right amount of transparency, in some cases, you could hit the target color that you want with some other green, right? And this format, the syntax basically of writing colors saves you two characters. So that's what's happening here, which is a good optimization. You save two characters, get the same color, and that this block border forms these rectangles, right? Cool. So we get three of these. We have three elements, I mean, which is body, dt, and p. Um, and I'm not sure like why three would be required because I see this one element as something like uh, this thing which we want. And even if you count this one, the horizontal one, which is just like the same as the vertical one, but just rotated, you want two of these, right? But the solution has three such things, which we'll probably see why. Cool. So border unlocked. And then there is this offset, which is, I believe, just a hack to set a rotation on the elements, right? So ray 0 degree is um, it basically aligns an element uh, to some what do you call a shape. In this case, the three elements are being aligned to a ray. Ray is just a straight line towards a direction, direction being governed by the degree that you see here. So a line at 0 degree, that would be the ray, and your element is aligned on that ray by some offset, right? If you want. Um, Optionally, you can give an offset, and then uh, on that shape with a little offset is where your element would be aligned at, right? So in our case, all the three aligned at a 0 degree ray. Um, it's essentially giving it a rotation, but what I don't understand is like all the three elements have the same uh, angle. They are being aligned, or they are being offsetted onto a ray at 0 degree. And why would same 0 degree value on the three elements give us this rotated thing? So this was already there. If you remember, all the three elements were looking like this. So this is fine, a vertical thing. But then how do you get this horizontal thing? how does the uh, offset ray thing rotates it even though it's 0 degree for all? Really, what I would come to my mind is if there is a cascading rotation, because then you can expect different visual outcomes compared to what you see in the code. So even if you have the same rotation value for different nested elements, but because they are nested, the rotation would get cascaded, right? So if you have 60 degree, 60 degree on two elements, nested elements, the outer one would be rotated by 60 degree, but the inner one would seem rotated by 120 degree because its parent rotated 60, and then inside its parent, the child rotated by 60. So thereby adding up the two angles, you would get 60 plus 60, 1 degree rotation visually, essentially on the nested element, right? That's what cascading means, but I don't see why the offset is getting sort of like cascaded. Like, and even at 0 degree, there's not even a value for the angle. It's just 0 degrees. So I don't see why um the margin missing. No. Okay, let's see. Mm, Also, there were three elements before we unlocked offset. There were the three elements, these body, DT, and P tags. But after offset, we only see two of them, or maybe two of them are overlapped, and we don't see. We just see one of those, maybe. So here's the body tag, which is for some reason not showing. It's sort of clipped, I guess. Okay. Um, okay. So let's see what's happening here. The body has, for some reason, it moves to a weird place. No, no, no. I check something wrong? The body is here, which is fine. The body is um, aligned towards a ray at 0 degree, which I believe is a horizontal ray. So the body looks horizontal, but then inside body is this DT tag, which should have also aligned to a 0 degree ray, but it shows vertical for some reason. Oh, I see. Because now 0 degree would be relative to the parent, right? So the body itself has been rotated. So had it been the same body without the offset or essentially the rotation, 0 degree would have pointed to the same direction, right? It's relative to the local element's coordinates. So 0 degree for three different elements would be in the same direction. But when a parent is rotated, the local axis also rotates, right? So the 0 degree was here, but for a rotated element, the 0 degree has also rotated according to whatever the rotation of the parent is. So now for body, if you see, um, when the body was like this, the 0 degree meant like this, right? But if you rotate the body and make it like this, right, let's say this this uh, rotation, which is I think anti-clockwise. Yeah, it's anti-clockwise. So if you rotate this element to an anti-clock in the anti-clock direction, after 90 degree, this 0 degree for any child inside this element would actually be this thing, right? This is a 0 degree ray because I believe like the angles that you give to the ray, they according to the local um, axis. And since the local coordinate system has overall rotated for body, everything inside it is also essentially rotated in the 0 degree direction, or whatever the direction of the element is now. Cool. Uh, and similarly, so it's sort of like cascading again that we were talking about. The P inside would again be rotated by 0 degree, but the 0 degree has rotated for the local coordinate system. And so you get body horizontal, dt vertical, and then uh, P again horizontal because of the cascading, right? Cool. So that's what we get. Two elements got overlapped on top of each other, thereby giving us illusion that there are just like two of these rectangles with the green, red, and green thing. And then there is this final thing, which is P. P gets used up for a different purpose. The solution probably sets width on P. Um, and then overall, a font, it's not overall, it's just on P. So a font is now set to actually tweak the height of P tag. And how is the height getting tweaked? Because the height, if you see, is 10 LH, which is 10 line height, which means like it's dependent on the font size because line height depends on font size. So essentially, with the font setting here, with the proper font size and line height, we are controlling the height of just the P tag, right? That's what's happening. So we want a different width, we want a different height, essentially like the height and width the same. So if the width is 60 pixels here, you can assume like the height is also required to be 16 pixel. And this font getting set here is actually setting a 60 pixel essentially as the height of our p tag because of the 10 LH value, right? So finally, like three elements, HTML is just for the background thing. The three elements, which is body, uh, parent of this DT tag, and then DT being the parent of P tag. Those three tags are basically um, they are overlapped on each other, and they get this rotation from the offset thing. And then P is just turned into a square with um, proper width and height, and that's it. Right? That's the amazing solution by Vegi. Uh, Super crazy, super crazy. I mean, this thing, the offset thing, which doesn't look like a rotation actually. Um, as I was saying, like even if you had rotation here, um, it would have made sense only when there is some degree of rotation um, given, right? So even for cascaded elements, if you just give rotation zero, and rotate zero, not rotation, it's rotate property. So even if you keep giving 0 degree rotation to all the nested elements, nothing would happen. There would be no visual change at all because nothing is being rotated. They just stay the same way, and then they just stay the same way. But the same 0 degree doesn't have the same effect with ray and offset because the normal angle, I believe, is not 0 degree. When you give something a rotation or offset on a ray at 0 degree, the 0 degree ray itself is um, it rotates the element, right? The element was like this. When you say ray 0 degree, you're actually rotating the element. So once you get the rotation, any amount of rotation on the parent, things start to cascade if you have the same property values going deep inside the children, right? So that's the most interesting part of the solution. A seemingly no-op declaration, which is just like offsetting to a ray of 0 degree, but essentially causing rotation, a cascaded rotation uh, all across the elements starting from body tag, right? And then the smart, of course, the smart control of height with the LS unit and then controlling it with the font one. That's super amazing code call solution by Wiggy. Nice. Cool. Just a quick peek at the other ones. As we saw, like all of them are using either DT or DL, at least the top four, and they're not They're not same. Even the second one is a little different. It's using box shadows, probably like the one we discussed initially. The shadows being created or being used for these green things. I think so. Cool. So that's the second solution, second top solution by Muhammad Ali. And then there's by David, which is also using box shadow. Yeah, all of them seem to be using the box shadow for something or the other thing. That's just the first solution, which is like crazy out of the box offset implementation to build this thing. This probably is again like using cascaded rotations. Yeah, interesting solutions there, and super crazy, as I said, by Wei. Cool. That would be it for reverse engineering. We are almost 1 hour into the live stream. And we are done with the daily target, and that means it's time for some versus battles. If there's a big if there is anyone who wants to do a versus battle here on the live stream. I'll wait for a minute or two to see if someone wants to do a live stream. Meanwhile, we can talk about if I missed any update. We already talked about the new course, I think. We also have started putting in topic-specific courses now, the first one being for Flexbox. So if you ever came on the website to learn CSS and the overall courses were not what you're looking for, you don't want to cover all the beginner topics or the intermediate topics, and just want a crash course on Flexbox, uh, that's where you want this one, right? It just has the very comprehensive gamified playable levels for you to understand Flexbox in and out, right? Distributed across 4 chapters here. So yeah, more of these topic-specific courses coming really soon, but check out if you are looking to learn CSS. We talked about the player cards all throughout the website, wherever you see a user. I'm sure now, like these are the same rooms which got people to join them, but then the host did not have credit, so nothing's happening there. We need to solve this problem soon. Cool. I guess then, if there's no one willing to do a versus battle with me, this would be it for today's live stream then. Um, Sorry about the late start again. Um, and Yeah, that would be it. This is the first live stream of 2026. Um, Hope you did check your 2025 Wrapped if you have been playing on the website for some time. Uh, you would find some interesting stats and facts and metrics about your play at CSS Battle in the last year in 2025, right? And by the way, like this 2025 Wrapped had a few Easter eggs which I had asked people to um, find out. One or two players did find out all the 4 Easter eggs. So just a quick recap of those Easter eggs. One is, of course, like this thing. So, however, how many years you have played at CSS Battle, you get the same number of steps here, and then the ball bounces on them, and you can re-trigger the bounce with the nice sound effects here. That's the first Easter egg. And next one is on this thing, which is like how many times did you get 99% matches? Basically suffered from 99.9% matches, and that's a bad thing, a very bad thing to have in CSS Battle. So if you click this particular card about 99.9% matches, you get this very appropriate GIF here of a person crying, and yeah, that's basically the emotion that you would get if you happen to get a lot of 99.9% matches, uh, specifically when you are not expecting it. So that's the second Easter egg on this 2025 Wrapped page. And then there is a Easter egg here as well. You see these small legends here for the month. J means January, F means February. So if you press the corresponding letters, you would see the corresponding months fire up, and they do return back, so you can like keep playing with these. And they also have a sound effect in increasing frequency. Fun to play with. Yep, got back. Cool. So that's third one, and then the final one is these letters which spell out Happy 2026. These are draggable, they are springy, they are fun to drag and leave, right? Just drag and leave them. They bounce, they spring, jump, and yeah, that's the final fourth Easter egg on this page. Cool. So check out the page if you have not already checked out your 2025 Wrapped. Share it with people if you want to brag about your gameplay at CSSBattle. Just like have fun with the metrics. Cool. That would be it for the stream today. We'll meet again next Saturday, same time, same channel. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already done so that you get notified about the future live streams. That's where we meet every Saturday. We try to meet every Saturday. Do these fun stuff, try to reverse engineer daily targets, play versus battles, and talk about CSL battle in general and updates happening here. Cool. I hope to see you next week on the channel, on the live stream. Um, Thanks everyone who joined. I'll see you next Saturday.